Hello everyone, your friendly neighborhood Haven here, and today I got another build video for you. Since everybody seems to be super supportive about these, I have one of my Hunter, where I just lob a lot of explosions. Also, I kind of like misspeak at one point, and if you're paying close attention, you'll catch it. But other than that, enjoy. Now, the build itself will be focused on the Gunslinger. We're going to be using Blade Barrage as our super. We're going to be using Gambler's Dodge as our class ability. Our class ability will be generating melee energy based on our melee stat. That's going to be important. We're going to need to keep our class ability up. As you can see, my current class ability is set to 50. You can go higher. I wouldn't recommend going lower. It doesn't really work out that well. The melee we're going to be going for is Knife Trick. Throwing a fan of knives will scorch a target on hit. Using Tripmine grenades is going to be the grenade of choice because we're using Ahamkara'S spine. And that will actually be crucial to this entire build as everything works around that. Now, as for our aspects, Gunpowder Gamble is the aspect we're going to be going with. Defeating targets with solar abilities, debuffs, and solar weapons charge up an improvised solar grenade, or the Gunpowder Gamble as we all come to know it as. If you destroy in mid-air, you will cause an ignition. That's important. You want some more ignitions. Next up, we're going to be using On Your Mark. I only really used On Your Mark for the fragment slots. Like, its actual effect, activating your class ability or getting precision final blows, grant nearby allies increased weapon handling and reload speed for a short duration, stacking up to 3 times. While precision final blows, while you are at 3 stacks, grant your radiant. That is actually just kind of a passive bonus. The radiant is a bonus, and you'll see why. Now, as for the fragments, this part's going to be important, and I'll explain every step as we go along. Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants make nearby allies radiant, including yourself. So, you throw the knife trick, you scorch them, and then you and your allies get radiant. Next up, we're going to get Ember of Empyrean. Weapon or ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to you. Essentially, we'll be getting about 12 to 6 seconds of radiant. And that will actually work with the class item perks that I told you about earlier, where if we have Radiant, it will restore grenade energy quicker. Ember of Char. Your solar ignition spreads scorch to the affected targets. This is kind of a bonus, but the scorch is actually what we want. The plus 10 grenade is also a bonus, and you work with that. Defeating targets with solar ignitions grants grenade energy. And so what we're doing here is every time we get Gunpowder Gamble, we chuck it, we kill enemies, and then we get grenade energy equal to what our grenade stat is. And that's one of the crucial aspects. This entire build is focused solely around your grenade. Last up is the Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. So, you scorch a target with the knife. We all get Radiant. Radiant restores the grenade energy. And while everything's scorched, you're recharging your class ability to keep up the Radiant. Simple, basic loop combo. Alright, let's move on to the seasonal artifact. There are going to be 4 artifact mods that are going to really build into this. Starting with the middle tier, we're going to be using Fever and Chill. Rapid precision hits with solar weapons grant you Radiant. That will work great. That's what we want right there. Next up, we want Shield Crush. While you are amplified or radiant, your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. Then, we want Elemental Overdrive. Picking up an elemental pickup or a tangle grants increased damage to the weapons of the same element. We're going to be using a solar weapon, and every time we pick up a fire sprite, that will boost my solar weapon damage. Lastly, Elemental Coalescence. Defeating targets has the chance to create an elemental pickup matching our equipped super. Since we're using a solar super, we're going to be getting fire sprites. And that will just kind of work into everything we're working on. Now, as we look at our character, the armor set we're going to be using is the Lustrious armor. And this is going to be important. One, it's mainly the 4-piece set we're going for. Everything else is kind of a bonus because we're using a solar weapon. You receive healing, grants you solar weapons, flinch resistance, reload, speed, and handling. That's great. We like that, especially because we're using solar weapons. The 4-piece, it will cure you. So every time you get a solar final blow, and you think, oh no, I'm gonna die. Ah, look, I got better. And that's kind of what we're going for here. Now, when we jump into the exotic we're using, it's Ahamkara'S Spine. Increased Tripmine grenade duration and blast radius. Ability damage grants Tripmine grenade energy. So, how does this work with everything? You got the seasonal artifact giving you grenade energy every time you become radiant. So that loop I talked about earlier, that will loop back in. As long as you're radiant, which will be about 6 to 12 seconds, you'll be getting increased grenade energy recharge. 2, Ahamkara'S Spine grants you grenade energy, scaling not only for your grenade energy, but the number of enemies you kill, and you can get 3 to 4 enemies at a time, which will instantly recharge this, and also give you Gunpowder Gamble. Now, what I did, because this also increases the damage with the seasonal artifact, and with this, is I maxed out my damage with Grenade Font. I gave myself 2 more Grenade Fonts. That will boost it up to 200 Grenade. Even though it's at 150 right now, it will be then 200 Grenade energy. Next up, I gave myself 1 melee font, because melee energy, like I said, is going to be important. And every time you dodge with Gambler's Dodge, after getting an Orb of Light and getting the armor charge, that will boost this up to 80. And because it's 80, you'll get an almost instantaneous recharge on your melee every time. And that's what we're going for. So we can chuck the melee. We're basically got Radiant for 6 to 12 seconds. That's recharging my grenade energy. And this is also recharging my class ability, while also recharging the melee again, and the grenade. Now, as for the helm, I'm very basic. I went with Solar Strand Dual Siphon and Heavy Ammo Finder. Heavy Ammo Finder, gotta be important. I'll explain that in a moment. The Solar Strand Siphon, I'm simply using a solar weapon and a strand weapon, so it kind of works out. Chest piece. Armor mods, not really important. That depends on who you're fighting, what you're fighting. I expect all the time to go deal with snipers, which are the bane of my existence. And so I spec'd against snipers with arc and the sniper armor. Legs. This is where it kind of gets important. I went with Elemental Charge. Since you're going to be generating fire sprites a lot based on the seasonal artifact, picking those up, and an Orb of Light will also give you an armor charge. Absolution will also give your abilities cooldown, and Orb of Restoration will recharge whichever one is lowest at the time. And in this case, you want to keep all 3 of your abilities up so you can spam your grenades. So, Orb of Restoration just works out better. Like, you could change this to stacks on stacks, and then this to the grenade. That's entirely up to you. Lastly, the Lustrious Cloak. I went with Time Dilation to increase the armor charges and how long they will actually last. Powerful Attraction, so every time we dodge, I pick up the Orbs of Light. And Reaper, so every time I dodge, I also generate an Orb of Light once I get a kill. Essentially, these 2 will automatically pick themselves up, and then this will instantly give me a longer armor charge. Now, as for the weapons, I went with Mint Retrograde with Slice, so the debuff on the boss will instantly make all my solar damage much more powerful, which is kind of what we're going for here. That's going to be a bonus. Then we went with the Yeartide Apex. You can actually rock the new auto rifle, the Ahab Char. Either one works in this situation. But I went with Yeartide Apex and Burning Ambition because it automatically applies this Scorch stacks. Where Incandescent, if you kill an enemy, it will apply a Scorch stack. This will just instantly give it to you. which is what we want because then that will make our class ability to recharge much faster. I went with Hill Clip because I like survivability. You can go Attrition Orbs if you have this roll, and then that will proc your armor charges quicker. Or you can go Recycled Energy. For some reason, the enhanced version doesn't suck, so you could run that. Again, I went with the Eclipse. But here's why I went with Dragon's Breath. Rockets embed themselves stuck in targets, periodically eject fuel that inflicts scorch. The longer this weapon goes without firing, the more fuel the next rocket contains. It's strong against unstoppable champions. 1, great against unstoppable champions. Big bonus right there, because when the rocket blows up, that's an ignition effect that will stun the champion. But the Scorch stack allows us to recharge our melee, which then recharges our class, recharges our class ability, which recharges our melee, which then cycles the grenade energy once we have the radiant again, and the whole thing is cylindrical. It just keeps going circular in that pattern. So, lob rocket, lob grenade, lob knives. Grenade instantly recharges, lob grenade. This, it will now restock itself and reload itself. Thus, you lob the rocket again, and it's a great DPS combo for bosses. Huh. Lot to go over, I'm sorry. Alright, so how does this work in reality? Well, that's basically what we're going for. And if you're wondering how I did the 3 gunpowder gambles back to back to back to back to back, I will get into that actually, and I'll explain that. That's actually because of Ember of Blistering. Because the game has not registered the fact that it's not off of my command bar yet, where the grenade energy symbol is, it will automatically refill this. And so in that case, it will automatically refill the gunpowder gamble. So if you get it early enough and you get somebody with an ignition, it will then refill the grenade, the gunpowder gamble endlessly. The longest string I had was, I think, 5 or 6 gunpowder gambles back to back to back to back to back. Uh-oh. No, I missed my grenade! Now, as you can see, my abilities are recharging at a ridiculous rate. I have Radiant up still, I have the armor charges, I have the solar weapon boost, and all my abilities are, in fact, almost fully recharged again. And that's basically what we're going for here. We just want to keep non-stop abilities up, and because of the armor set we're using, it will continuously cure us, which means we're probably not gonna die anytime soon. And so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna leave you with that. I'm gonna tell you, hey, here's a video of me using it in action, and you guys can go have fun and try this build out yourself. And thank you for watching. If you like this build, be sure to like, comment, share, maybe subscribe, help a poor man out. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Later, everybody. Peace.
Phylax found fame at Twilight Gap, yes. Fame for ruthlessness, for final death.
Phylax is down.
Her soldiers will scatter. But there are other powerful Elixni that will stand in your path.